In the not-so-distant future, mankind discovered it was not alone. For centuries, the tales of Bigfoot and Yeti were dismissed as myths, folklore, and hallucinations. But in the year 2050, the world changed forever. Deep in the forests of North America and the icy mountains of the Himalayas, governments stumbled upon undeniable proof. These creatures were real, intelligent, and fiercely territorial. The discovery came from a joint expedition by international scientists who ventured into the unexplored regions of the world, driven by advancements in technology and curiosity. They returned with not just evidence, but living specimens of both Bigfoot and Yeti. The world was in awe, but awe soon turned into fear as more sightings and encounters revealed the creature's aggressive nature. Reports of attacks increased. Remote villages in the Himalayas were wiped out overnight, and logging camps in North America were abandoned, leaving behind scenes of carnage. The creatures were not just beasts, they were organized, capable of strategic thinking and teamwork. The realization hit hard: humanity was under threat. In the halls of power, leaders convened to discuss the growing menace. Nations formed an unprecedented alliance, pooling their military resources and scientific expertise. The United Nations declared a state of global emergency, calling it Operation Shadowfall. The objective was clear: eradicate the Bigfoot and Yeti threat before they could do irreparable harm. General Marcus Slade, a seasoned military strategist, was appointed to lead the operation. His steely resolve and tactical brilliance made him the perfect candidate to wage a war unlike any other. These creatures are not just myths anymore, General Slade addressed the world in a televised speech. They are a clear and present danger. We must act swiftly and decisively. Our very survival depends on it. The initial plan was to contain and neutralize the threat using conventional military forces. Drones, ground troops, and airstrikes were deployed to known hotspots. In the dense forests of North America, elite units equipped with the latest weaponry began their hunt. In the Himalayas, special forces, adapted to the harsh conditions, took on the elusive Yeti. However, the creatures proved to be formidable adversaries. They adapted quickly, using their terrain to their advantage. Ambushes and guerrilla tactics inflicted heavy casualties on the human forces. The war dragged on, with no clear victor in sight. Back home, the public grew restless. Fear and uncertainty spread like wildfire. Governments faced pressure to end the conflict swiftly. The decision was made to escalate the war to an unprecedented level: nuclear intervention. The world watched in stunned silence as the first tactical nuclear strike was launched. Deep in the heart of the Pacific Northwest, a forest teeming with Bigfoot was obliterated in a blinding flash of light. The mushroom cloud was a stark reminder of humanity's destructive power. Similar strikes were carried out in the Himalayas, targeting Yeti strongholds. The devastation was immense, leaving vast swathes of land uninhabitable. But the creatures, resilient and tenacious, were not so easily defeated. The nuclear strikes had unintended consequences. The fallout from the bombs led to environmental disasters, affecting both human and animal populations. Radiation sickness spread, and food and water supplies were contaminated. The world was paying a heavy price for its attempt to eradicate the creatures. But the Bigfoot and Yeti, though diminished in numbers, continued to fight back. They launched coordinated attacks on military bases and urban centers, showing a level of intelligence and organization that baffled scientists and strategists alike. As the war raged on, a new discovery was made. Deep in a secure government lab, Dr. Evelyn Ross, a brilliant geneticist, stumbled upon a shocking revelation. The creatures shared a common ancestor with humans, making them distant relatives. This genetic link suggested that the Bigfoot and Yeti possessed more than just animalistic instincts; they had the potential for higher cognitive functions and possibly even communication. Armed with this knowledge, Dr. Ross proposed a daring plan. Instead of total annihilation, she suggested an attempt at communication. If the creatures could be reasoned with, perhaps a truce could be negotiated. It was a risky move, but with the world teetering on the brink of collapse, it was a chance they had to take. General Slade, though initially skeptical, agreed to the plan. A team of scientists, linguists, and military personnel was assembled to make contact with the creatures. The chosen site was a neutral location in the Rocky Mountains, where both sides would meet under a flag of truce. The delegation waited nervously as the creatures approached. The Bigfoot were towering and muscular, their fur matted and eyes wary. The Yeti, equally imposing, exuded an aura of ancient wisdom. The air was thick with tension as Dr. Ross stepped forward, holding a device that emitted a series of sounds based on the creature's vocal patterns. For a moment, there was silence. Then, one of the Bigfoot responded with a series of guttural noises. The Yeti followed suit, and a rudimentary form of communication was established. Through painstaking efforts, a dialogue was initiated. Over the course of several weeks, a fragile understanding began to form. The creatures revealed that their aggressive behavior was a response to human encroachment on their territories and the environmental destruction caused by industrial activities. They had seen humans as a threat to their survival, just as humans had seen them. A historic accord was reached. The creatures agreed to withdraw to designated protected areas, where they would be free from human interference. In return, humanity pledged to respect these territories and cease all aggressive actions. The announcement of the accord brought a mix of relief and disbelief. The war, which had seemed unwinnable, was finally over. Both sides had suffered greatly, but a new path forward had been forged. The world faced the monumental task of rebuilding. Cities and towns devastated by the war needed to be reconstructed, and the environment had to be restored. Governments worked together to address the fallout from the nuclear strikes, focusing on decontamination and rehabilitation. The creatures retreated to their protected areas, where they began to rebuild their own societies. The accord was upheld, and a cautious peace settled over the land. The war against the Bigfoot and Yeti had left an indelible mark on humanity. It was a stark reminder of the consequences of fear and misunderstanding. The creatures, once seen as monsters, were now recognized as sentient beings with their own right to exist. Dr. Ross continued her work, studying the genetic link between humans and the creatures. Her research opened new avenues of understanding and cooperation, leading to a deeper respect for the natural world and its inhabitants. General Slade, hailed as a hero, used his influence to promote peaceful coexistence and environmental conservation. He retired from the military, dedicating his life to ensuring that the mistakes of the past were not repeated. Years passed, and the scars of the war slowly healed. The world had changed, but it had also grown wiser. The creatures, now living in harmony with humans, became a symbol of hope and unity. In a small town in the Pacific Northwest, a statue was erected to commemorate the accord. It depicted a human and a Bigfoot standing side by side, a testament to the power of understanding and the resilience of both species. As the sun set over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the land, a sense of peace and renewal filled the air. The war against the shadows was over, and a new dawn had begun. In the end, it was not the weapons or the battles that defined the outcome, but the courage to seek understanding and the will to build a better future. And so, humanity and the creatures of legend walked together into a new era, united by a shared destiny and a newfound respect for the world they called home.